Thank you to RSF1090 for their generous donation on Patreon. If you would like to join them in their generosity, the link to my Patreon page is in the description. The roars and hollers of the crowd were muffled as they rumbled through the back hallways of the building. Cole tiptoed quietly through the several rooms, poking his head through the many shelves of Clyde's stock. There were plenty of trinkets, assorted arcane crystals, stolen keys, and other things street urchins often pilfer from unknowing city folk. A few rarer treasures were stored in the back, likely bought from adventurers after they returned from their journeys. There was no sign of this obsidian crown that Artemy described, though. Cole tapped his chin curiously as he closed the door behind him. The crown sounded pretty valuable. Maybe Clyde was keeping it on his person?
Hey, who's back there? This place is off limits for guests!
Cole grinned at the sound of familiar voice and stuck his head out to meet a surprised Clyde. Yo! Clyde's suspicions immediately melted into a mischievous chuckle.
Well, if it ain't my little coleslaw. What are you doing back here? Were you planning of hanging out with me in my office?
Maybe later. I did say today was business day. Cole jabbed a finger at the handful of arcane crystals by a crate. A shitty little urchin boy stole those off me earlier today. Mind if I buy them back?
What? Those cheap things? Hell, I'll give them back for free. Or maybe in exchange for a good time with my favorite buddy.
Clyde's paw caressed down Cole's back and ended with a firm squeeze of his ass. Cole chuckled. Sounds like a good deal to me. I'm surprised you're feeling so generous today. You're usually such a hard-ass with your deals. Clyde hummed cheerfully as he pulled Cole close, his hips flush with the little hyena's butt as he rested his chin on top of his head. The hyena's hiney. Cole flushed slightly as he felt grabby hands shake down his front and fiddle with his loincloth. No, focus. It's business first today.
Those are pretty low-quality arcane crystals, man. Any spell that's stored inside them ain't gonna last more than a day.
Cole blinked and glanced up at the snuggling tiger curiously. Huh? What do you mean?
Oh, right. I forgot your old man is basically a caveman when it comes to magic. Basically, these arcane crystals store spells inside of them to function. For example, ones that are used to drive caravans and wagons are charged with an animate object spell. Other crystals are used for stuff like cooling buildings on hot summer days, are charged with spells like Ray of Frost. Technology is amazing nowadays.
Wait, you're telling me that people can cool their houses down in the summer with magic? Did I suffer through all those dank, sweaty days in our living quarters for nothing? Clyde chuckled and shrugged.
Like I said, your father's quite the caveman when it comes to magic. I can never figure out why he's so against it.
Cole groaned and buried his face in his hands. It's the story of my life right there. He sighed with defeat. Alrighty, that's enough small talk. It was time to focus on his task. Cole's eyes narrowed as he carefully planned his next words. Speaking of Papa, I'm here to do a little gift shopping for him. The Bone Breakers have been earning a pretty penny from all the new adventuring jobs lately, and I was thinking of getting him something nice.
Oh, well, I'm always happy for more business. What can I get for you, Coleslaw?
Papa's pretty fond of over-the-top and gaudy things, despite how he acts. Maybe some jewelry, or something fancy like a cape or a crown.
Well, fancy that. I just got my hands on a rather spectacular crown today. Unfortunately, it's already been booked by several high-class buyers. Their offers are at a price not even the son of Marrow Bonebreaker can afford.
Damn, already? Didn't you just say you just got this crown today? Who exactly are these speed shoppers?
I'm afraid I can't tell you, Coleslaw. Customer confidentiality and all that good jazz. These buyers send middlemen to handle their purchases, so it's not like I know who they are anyway.
Darn. Guess I gotta give up on this crown and settle on buying Papa a cape or something.
I'm sure we've got plenty in our inventory to satisfy Marrow. Speaking of satisfying, you want to come to my office to discuss your payment for those arcane crystals?
Cole let out a small yelp as Clyde suddenly thrusted forward, pressing his bulge tightly against the hyena's rump. Took you long enough. Lead the way, Clyde. The tiger laughed and scooped up the hyena in his arms before prancing cheerfully down the hall.
This is why you're my favorite visitor.
Oh, brother. I was, keen. Not keen. I was, yeah, yeah, you could tell from the music and the couch. I was made privy to the fact that this is the first. I make it sound so like, oh, I was told. It was part of the download notes that this is the first bit of this game that'll include a lewdness. So there might be some censorship going on here, or maybe even a skip if it gets too explicit. Damn, you got the. This song is in repeat. I remember that. Clyde was purring like a giddy child, ready to open a present as he carried Cole bridal style into his office. The room was thankfully empty of other people, preoccupied only by the dim, flickering candles on the walls. Cole laughed and nuzzled into Clyde's warm, fuzzy neck. Jeez, someone sure is excited.
I just miss spending some quality time with my little Coleslaw.
The tiger gently tossed him onto the couch and pinned him down on the soft cushions with a grin. Cole could feel his soft, warm breath tickle his face as he peered up at the hungry tiger. It was a familiar sensation. The two of them have been together before countless times. Still, Cole couldn't help but shiver in delight at the sensation of Clyde's clawed hands lightly caressing his chest as he leaned forward. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, so, full transparency, I have to say it pretty much every time this happens. If you yourself want to experience the not safe for work scene, for yourself, there probably are other people on YouTube playing this game that are willing to bet on YouTube not taking them down. I'm not willing to make that bet, because it almost lost me my channel before, so I have to skip those scenes, and I also don't take the alternative of posting uncensored videos on either Patreon or on an adult website. Of course, like I said, other people do, so if you really want to experience the scene vicariously without having to download the game yourself, that is one option, or this game is fucking free. So you literally can download it on PC, Mac, I think even phone? I'm not entirely sure on that one, but the link to the download page is in the description. It is free, so you can experience all of the lewdness yourself. But as for me and this platform, YouTube, I have to skip it. Boom. I did say skip, right? Clyde pulled Cole onto his lap as the two of them settled on the couch. There was a hungry glint in his eye.
We're gonna have a good bit of fun, aren't we?
Okay, so it does skip. Okay. Why wouldn't you have the skip there? I don't know. Meanwhile, in the fighting ring, the judge blew his whistle with another shrill screech.
Round set. The winner is Sid Shrikewood, his win streak unbroken. This greenhorn is barreling through the competition with ease.
A large portion of the crowd cheered and hollered for Sid this time around as he limped his way out of the ring with an adrenaline-filled grin. It It's a bit of a struggle, but he managed to win 3 matches in a row. Through all the bruises and aches, his addicting rush of triumph filled Sid's chest. We will be holding a short intermission for our contenders to rest and recuperate. While you wait, feel free to check out Clyde's catalog of wares and products lined up in the back of the room. The crowd slowly dispersed to chatter amongst themselves about the newcomer's performance. Artemy hurried across the room to Sid's side as he stumbled towards her table.
That was a stunning display of power, Sir Sid. You are truly blessed with incredible natural-born strength.
And you've been handling the bets in the crowd really well. I can't believe people are cheering for me now. We make a pretty good team, huh? Up top! Sid raised his hands expectantly for a high five. Not gonna get one though, are you? Yeah. Artemy stared at him blankly.
I beg your pardon?
Huh? Have you never gotten a high five before? Here, hold out your hand.
All right.
Nay, you struck me!
It was wee and gentle, but you struck me nonetheless. Is this a challenge?
Is this a weapon? What? No, of course not.
If so, I am honor-bound as a knight of the church to accept. On God, Sir Sid!
Artemy reached to unsheath her sword. Sid hastily grabbed her arm. No, no, no! It was a high five! It was a thing. It's a thing friends do when they do cool stuff together.
Ah, show camaraderie. I see.
She was ready to kill that motherfucker. For a high five. Artemy blinked and cleared her throat self-consciously.
Does this mean you consider us to be friends?
Of course. I mean, if you want to be. We've only met for a little while, but it's been fun and an eventful day with you. A shy smile grew across Artemy's face as she looked up at her companion.
Of course. I will treasure our friendship for years to come, Sir Sid. Thank you.
A similar smile grew on Sid as he grinned to himself with glee.
Ha! See, Mom? I have friends who aren't toads, too.
Did you say something?
Oh, it's nothing. Sid suddenly winced and clutched his side with pain. Dark, ugly bruises littered across his torso and arms. One fighter even managed to land a solid uppercut into Sid's face earlier.
Ugh. That last guy really didn't pull his punches.
You mustn't push yourself too hard, Sir Sid. Here, I believe I can help with that.
Artemy pressed her hand against Sid's arm. Ooh, healing magic! Cure wounds. A gentle rush of warmth slowly flooded Sid's body as the unmistakable golden glow of celestial magic illuminated her hand. Sid watched in amazement as he felt his bruises gradually faded along with his exhaustion. He hopped onto his feet and experimentally feinted a few punches in the air.
Whoa, this is amazing!
This guy's experiencing drugs for the first time.
Oh, my soreness is gone. I practically feel like new. I didn't know you could cast magic too, Miss Knight.
Artemy chuckled and bowed her head bashfully.
You flatter me. My education with the church included swordsmanship training by holy paladins as well as healing magic by clerics. It is natural that I should aid in easing my comrades' wounds.
A big, giddy grin spread across Sid's face as he plopped back into his seat.
I still can't believe I'm working with the Creator's Chosen on my first day as an adventurer. This is so cool. It's an honor to work with the future savior of the world.
Oh, the honor is all mine. I never imagined I'd have the chance to work with such kind people on my first mission.
You're just being modest. You're the chosen one, for crying out loud. Every day must be full of exciting stuff to do and people to meet. A little commoner like me is probably small stuff compared to what you go through.
Artemy's smile faltered as she stared to the floor quietly.
you are mistaken. I'm afraid I've spent most of my life within the Grand Cathedral, and do not have much experience with the world outside of the church district. Today has been the most eventful day of my life, for better or for worse.
She peered up at Sid curiously.
Pardon my intrusion, Sir Sid, but I've been wondering. I am here due to my duties as a knight of the church, but what about you? You mentioned that you wanted to be an adventurer. What drives an ordinary man to pursue such a dangerous profession?
Sid stared down at the wooden table with a hint of embarrassment.
It's kinda silly if I'm being honest. I suppose it's fine if I share this with the creator's chosen. But you gotta promise not to laugh, though.
Artemis suddenly stood up and bowed, drawing curious stares from nearby onlookers. Oh! I said a thing for that. I don't remember what it was. I'm sorry.
Worry not, Sir Sid. You have my word and my silence.
Hey, sit back down. It's not that big of a deal.
As you wish.
Sid fiddled with the hem of his shirt quietly.
You see, the reason I want to be an adventurer so badly, it's true that I've always admired the glory and fame of adventurers, but the real reason...
He looked up with a bittersweet smile on his face.
It's all for my mom.
Artemis frowned, confused.
I understand. Mothers can have high and demanding expectations, but at the end of the day, they simply want what's best for us.
Sid snorted out a laugh.
Oh, my mom never really asked anything of me. She spoils me too much. I could be the world's worst layabout, and she'd probably still baby me all day.
Huh?
You see, the reason I want to be an adventurer is because I want to grow rich and successful so that I can give my parents an easy life when they grow old.
Sid scratched his head, his ears drooping with a hint of insecurity.
I'm gonna be real honest. I'm not exactly the smartest guy. Kinda stupid, really. I told my parents I got disinterested in my previous apprenticeship jobs as the reason why I kept getting let go, but the truth is, I kept messing up on the simplest tasks and pissing off my bosses and got genuinely fired. Especially that last job with the scribe.
He sighed heavily.
I've kinda come to terms with the fact that I'll never manage to get a good job that pays well. I'm not that smart, but I'm a big guy who can hold my own in a fight. Adventuring sounds like the only job I had a chance of being successful in.
A shy, fond smile spread across Sid's face.
I owe my mom a lot. She never complained about me. Never once got mad. Never. I know I wasn't an easy kid to raise. And she did that all while supporting my dad's wild dream of being the world's best cheesemaker. I'd come home every night to tell her I failed another apprenticeship. And she'd always tell me that it's all right, that I'm doing my best, all while pretending she's not exhausted from work and hiding her back pain from me.
Sid's hands squeezed into fists as he looked up with determination.
I really need to make something of myself. For her.
Artemis felt her heart writhe uncomfortably at Sid's confession.
Your mother is lucky to have you as her son.
Sid laughed.
I'm not sure about that, but thank you. It means a lot to hear that from the creator's chosen herself.
Artemis fell into a deep silence as she pondered Sid's words. A deep, ugly feeling snaked through her chest as she recounted how warm and fond Sid sounded as he spoke about his mother. She shook her head sharply and tried to ignore it. Artemis was the creator's chosen. It was natural that Her Excellency expected more from her. This was the duty that she was born with. Even still, Artemy could not quite block out the painful envy that was gnawing through her heart. Oh. Sad. Halfway through the intermission break, Artemy was surprised to see a familiar large crocodile approach their table. Val's massive frame cut through the crowd and cast a looming shadow over them like a mountain at high noon. At high noon, there are no shadows, because the sun's directly up ahead. That is a very that's a nitpick. But, fuck. Despite the fact that Sid stood at a similar height, the crocodile's mere presence seemed to dwarf him in comparison. Artemy stiffened as Val's eyes studied them closely. May we help you?
Pardon my intrusion. I've been watching you two.
The large fighter nodded toward each of them respectfully.
You are a strong and capable young man. And you, a sincere and honorable young knight. I don't understand why good folks such as yourselves decided to work for a man like Collody Bonebreaker. Why associate yourselves with a leech that blatantly profits off others' hard work and spoiled off his father's success?
Artemy and Sid exchanged perturbed glances. This was rather out of the blue.
Well, he's my new boss and all. And I always dreamed of working for Marrow Bonebreaker. Cole's like one step closer to my hero.
Val scoffed.
Then you're better off working for Marrow directly. At least Marrow is a strong and honorable man. I can respect that. His son, on the other hand, is a joke. I have no doubt that Collody has already lulled you into a disadvantaged contract or unfavorable working conditions.
Well,
Sid stuttered for a moment and fell silent. Val turned towards Artemy.
And you? Why has an honorable knight of the church stooped to working with scum like Collody?
Artemy glowered at him.
and why do you ask, sir?
Simply out of concern for your well-being, young lady. Wouldn't want good folk like you to be tricked by questionable characters.
Artemy stood up from her seat and glared up at Val solemnly.
I believe I am capable of judging one's character on my own. Thank you.
Sid glanced anxiously between the two and tugged on her sleeve.
Hey, maybe we shouldn't try to piss off the toughest guy here.
Artemy shrugged him off.
For example, I believe you do not care for me nor my comrades' well-being. You are simply acting out of contempt for Sir Cole. This is a quality I find more untrustworthy than anything he has done thus far.
The crocodile's brow furrowed into a deep scowl. The air grew heavy as Artemy and Val glared into each other's eyes with fierce intensity. Sid shrunk in his seat, watching the two apprehensively. Suddenly, Val broke into a hearty laugh and slapped Artemy playfully on the shoulder.
You struck me! It's time for a duel!
Ha! There's quite a spine on this one. If you face Collody with that same attitude, I suppose I have nothing to worry about. You, on the other hand.
Val turned towards Sid, who had nearly disappeared under the table during their confrontation.
You had better watch out for yourself. The world is not kind to soft warriors.
Damn. With a satisfied smile, the large crocodile turned around and retreated from their table. Artemy and Sid watched him leave with uncertain looks.
What a strange man. Was that a test of some sort? I'm getting real mixed messages from the guy. He seems to have a real beef with the boss. I wonder what Cole did to piss him off so much. That is a tale we can ask Sir Cole once he returns with the crown.
Artemy took a deep breath and sank back into her seat.
I almost lost my cool there for a moment. I must train harder to control my temperament.
Do they teach the phrase "lost my cool" in a church now? Damn.
When that man spoke so crudely of Sir Cole, I felt my blood boil.
You think there's any merit to what Val was saying about Cole?
I do not know their history, but Sir Cole has been very kind to me during our brief acquaintance. I will see to it that no one dishonors his reputation.
Artemis glanced at Sid doubtfully.
Do you believe there's truth to Val's words?
Well, it's true the boss got a little heated when talking about the terms of my employment. But that's probably because he wanted to make sure I didn't spill the beans about his magic casting to his dad. And he didn't act very heroically when the street urchin kid jumped into our wagon asking for help. But that's probably because he realized the kid stole stuff. I don't know. This is all too deep for a guy like me. In either case, Cole's been good to me. He took a chance and formed an adventuring party with me when no one else would. I trust him.
Artemis nodded in agreement.
I share the same sentiment. Let us put Val's doubtful words behind us and focus on today's mission, lest we become distracted.
Oh, speaking of which, Boss has been gone for a long time. I wonder what's taking so long.
Really building him up as this good, nice guy, and then I already saw the CG of them walking in on Cole getting fucking, I don't know, but yeah. This is classic comedic timing here.
Do you think he ran into trouble during his search?
Maybe. He told us not to worry about it, but I guess it couldn't hurt to check. You stay here and watch over our stuff. I'll go find him.
Very well. Do give me a shout if you run into danger, Sir Sid.
Will do.
Meanwhile, in Clyde's office, the air was thick with the scent of sweat and sex. The large tiger let out a hearty laugh as he lounged on the couch with Cole resting on his lap. Okay, they're decent.
This is why you're my favorite visitor around here. I'm glad we stayed friends after our little fling didn't work out.
Cole rolled his eyes as he nuzzled under Clyde's chin. This again. It wasn't that serious to begin with.
True, but I miss just talking to you about things without worry.
Clyde chucked? He chucked. What did he chuck? And ran his hand gently through Cole's hair.
You're horrible for my health, but boy, are you fun.
Cole felt a slight sliver of guilt slither through his chest as he looked up at his friend. Yeah, I sure am. He sat up from his snuggling and pinched Clyde's cheek in a seemingly playful manner. Sorry about this, pal. Huh? Oh, he looks... Oh, look at the expressions here. The guilt and the shock and surprise. Cole pressed his fingers against the either side of his friend's temples, and the sparkling static of magic flow through them. Shabanaba, charm person. Arcane static crackled from Cole's fingertips as Clyde's eyes rolled into the back of his head. Oh my. The large tiger slumped against the couch limply with a groan. Oh my god. Look at this fucker's face.
Why do I feel so woozy?
Clyde's voice was slurred and sluggish as though fully intoxicated. This poor fucker. That sliver of guilt grew in Cole's chest, but he swallowed it down. Don't worry, this is all just a dream. You'll forget this ever happened soon enough. I'm gonna ask you some questions, okay?
Anything you want, my little coleslaw. I miss you so much. Why did you leave me?
God damn. Cole groaned and buried his face in his hands. This is a little more difficult than he expected. He took a deep breath and steadied himself. Come on, focus. He's got a job to do. You got your hands on a black crown earlier today, didn't you? Where is it? Clyde giggled.
Right over there, coleslaw. I didn't know you liked this kind of fancy shit.
Clyde stumbled off the couch and drunkenly made his way toward the corner of his office. He ran his hands over the brick walls and pressed against it with an oddly spaced stone. Suddenly, the wall rumbled as several bricks slid away to reveal a hidden vault. Clyde fumbled with the lock on the vault, and it opened to reveal a large obsidian crown inside.
Here you go.
Cole yelped as the crown was tossed carelessly at him. Well, I got what I came for. That was easier than I thought. Huh? Something. Ooh. Fancy schmancy. Jesus, that could hurt a person. Cole stared at the obsidian crown in his hands. There were large empty sockets where jewels were previously present. Hey, the night lady said that this thing had 4 big rubies on it. Where'd they go? Clyde let out another loopy laugh as he sauntered onto the couch.
We took them out to sell separately. It's a lot more profitable that way.
Oh, fuck, really? Where'd all the rubies now?
One of them was snatched up by a buyer right off the bat. Don't know who the buyer actually is, though. They sent a middleman to make the purchase for a pretty penny. I made several months' worth of profit off of this one deal.
This isn't good.
Weirdest thing. The biggest gem out of the 4 disappeared right under our noses. We spent hours looking for it, but it's nowhere to be found. It's like the darn thing grew legs and snuck away. Val's real pissed. That gem was the biggest one. We could have made so much gold off of it.
What about the last 2 gems? Don't tell me those are lost too.
Oh, nah, Val's holding on to the last 2 for safekeeping. They didn't trust me to hang on to them, the fucker.
Cole took a deep breath and closed his eyes to ponder the situation. This complicates things. It's gonna be harder to pry the crown off of Val. Cole's charm person spell was too weak to work on someone so suspicious of him. Val's got a bit of gambling. Val's got a bit of a gambling problem, though, so maybe... Clyde suddenly let out a groan and rubbed his temples.
My head hurts. Why is the world spinning so much?
Oh, hold on. I gotcha. Cole rushed to the tiger's side and gently helped him to a more comfortable position on the couch. Oh, well, this is, technically fine. You know, you get a bit of a side-ass action going on there, but that ain't nothing that we haven't seen already. There's no penises? Nothing really bad here. He brushed his hand against Clyde's cheek softly. Thanks for your help, big guy. Why don't you take a little nap? Clyde instantly yawned. His eyes fluttered with drowsiness as he stared up at Cole unfocused.
Yeah, I'm glad I could help. I love you, my little coleslaw.
The tiger yawned again before slowly drifting off to sleep. Cole felt hollow. He brushed Clyde's forehead gently and leaned down to plant a soft kiss on his cheek. It's better that you left me. You deserve someone a little more honest anyway. Thumping footsteps in the hallway suddenly snapped Cole out of his thoughts. A soft voice called out behind the door.
Is this that Clyde dude's office? Hello? Boss, you in there?
The door swung open before Cole could even respond.
There you are. I thought...
Done. The fucking eyes. The eyes. Why are his thighs so massive? His eyes. Where are the rest of it? I mean, I get the framing is a little weird, but like, if you extend out his legs, like his foot has got to be, he's practically doing the splits. I do not get this posture, but the point is, it's fucking funny. Sid's eyes almost bulged out of his head as he caught sight of a very naked Cole on top of an equally nude and snoozing Clyde. His gaze shifted rapidly from their exposed bodies to the dripping trail of wetness that was leaking between Cole's legs. Oh my god. A red hue slowly enveloped the badger's face as his jaw hung open in shock. Cole groaned as Sid stood frozen in the doorway for several long moments. Are you just gonna keep staring? Either join in or get out of here.
Of course not, I'm not. Sorry for interrupting.
Sid immediately leapt for the door and slammed it shut behind him. Wow. Oh wow, there's a lot to this update. Artemy glanced up from their table to see Sid barreling towards her in utter panic.
Sir Sid, your face is so red. Are you feeling unwell? I'm fine. Everything is absolutely fine. Are you certain? Your look is red as a tomato.
What's all this racket about? Oh good, he's decent. The two of them looked up to see Cole squeeze into the crowd while adjusting his loincloth.
Oh, Sir Cole. It's good to see you return safely. It appears there is something wrong with Sir Sid. I'm perfectly okay.
Despite his insistence, Cole's face was indeed flushed red. His eyes darted with sideways glances towards Cole, especially toward the faint trail of white still leaking between his legs. Good lord. Cole gave the badger a sly grin and a wink. See something you like?
What? No. Why would I be interested in that kind of stuff?
I'm not gay. Jesus. That is... Either he is just a very shy person, or that is some internalized homophobia. Artemy frowned in confusion.
Why are you unhappy, Sir Sid? Did something upsetting happen?
At this point, Sid's mind appeared to be shut down entirely as he gaped blankly.
Everyone stop paying attention to me! Boss, did you find what we're looking for?
Cole tried to stifle a laugh at the badger's breakdown. Kinda. Pulled out a small canvas bag from his belt. Alright, Nighty, I got some good news and some bad news. The good news is that I found your weird crown. Glanced around to make sure no one was looking before he pulling open the bag. Hidden inside was a large obsidian crown he grabbed from Clyde.
My, you found it! Excellent job, Sir Cole. I can't thank you enough.
Can we talk about something? This thing looks evil, right? What's the prince of the royal family doing with something like this? Artemy frowned, confused.
I cannot judge, as I am unfamiliar with the fashion trends of the masses. Maybe the prince is going through an emo phase? I don't know. Both his parents just died and all. This might be his way of coping.
Cole squinted at the crown suspiciously. I guess so. It's still a bad look for a future king to wear a big black evil crown, though.
I'm having a hard time taking fashion advice from a guy who's barely wearing any clothes. No offense, boss.
Cole clutched his chest and looked deeply hurt. It's comfy. All the guys in the back of the Bonebreaker Mercenary Company dress like this.
All of them? Wait, if I'm working for you guys, does that mean I have to dress like this too?
If you want to. I'm sure you'd look great in a loincloth. And he's down. Sid spluttered incoherently for a full minute before sinking under the table to hide his reddening face. Artemy, oblivious to this entire exchange, peered into the bag with a frown.
Wait a moment. Where are the rubies on the crown?
That's the bad news I was talking about. Clyde said they removed them to sell separately. They lost the biggest ruby, and an anonymous buyer snagged another one. Luckily, Val's still holding on to the last two.
What? But that's half of the jewels! You mean to tell me 2 of the rubies are long gone? How will I explain this to the Knight Commander?
Hey now, pull yourself together. There's no use stressing out about something outside of your control. Let's just focus on what we can do for now. In this case, getting our hands on those last 2 gems with Val. Artemy took a deep breath in an attempt to steady herself.
Yes, you're right. However, this Val character has been acting rather hostile towards you, Sir Cole. Convincing him to depart with these rubies will not be a simple task.
You're right about that. Val does have a big gambling problem, though. He's got a pretty big ego in the fighting ring. We might be able to use this to our advantage. Cole tapped his chin thoughtfully. I think I might have a plan. It's kind of half-baked, but it'll have to do.
Whatever the case, I trust in your judgment, Sir Cole.
Alrighty. You ready for another round of fight, Sid? Sid? Where'd he go? The large badger had crawled underneath their table with his head resting on his knees, muttering frantically to himself. Oh, man. That's internalized homophobia. You know, as much as I try to stay aware and informed about everything, there are still some things that I learn about and from time to time where I'm like, wow, that is so obvious, or that makes so much sense. Like the very concept of internalized homophobia was something that I didn't understand at first, because I was like, I'm not any kind of homophobic. Hell, I am pansexual myself. I've had boyfriends. Like, how can I be homophobic? It turns out what internalized homophobia is, in a basic sense, is not you having those feelings towards someone else. It's you having adopted some of the mindsets or beliefs of homophobia because of what other people have told you in some of your formative years. And just like any other kind of thought or mindset that you have, and you can kind of just boil down to, well, I was just told that once. You don't really think it, and as soon as you examine it, you realize it doesn't make any sense. But it's something that you've held on to subconsciously. And in an example like this, where obviously at some point he was taught that being gay was a problem, usually manifests in self-hatred or in contradicting beliefs. There's this webcomic I follow called AJ and Magnus that is doing a storyline about internalized homophobia right now, where this guy who is dating another guy, and they're in a relationship, he's upset because he thinks his partner is acting too gay. And that comes from probably people around him in his early years talking about how people act too gay and how that's the problem. You know, people like, I don't mind gay people, but it's when they make it their whole personality, it becomes obnoxious. And that's something he's having to confront. And it's a learning process. It's about getting past all the shit that you were told by people, sometimes your parents, when you're younger, that conflict with who you are as a person. That's why the solution to this and any other kind of troubling mindset is examining your beliefs. Where did you get those beliefs from? Why do you have those beliefs? Do they make sense for things that you hold to be true? Question everything you think and do independent research beyond anecdotal evidence or what you have been told in the past. That is the solution to solving any kind of internalized homophobia or any other kind of inherited thoughts from other people that you were just told and didn't really think about. Hell, you can even break it down to the individual words he's saying. Like, every time he says, like, I or something, he's stuttering because he's trying to talk about himself in a way that doesn't make sense to him. Also, the ladies, as you know, you say the line there, I'm into the ladies. He doesn't talk like that. He never has referred to women as the ladies in any sense before. People who are timid and shy and respectful don't typically say the ladies in a genuine sense. The only way they would is because they think other people want to hear that or other people have talked like that around them. We don't know much about Sid's dad, but perhaps Sid's dad or maybe someone else in Sid's life or a community was a ladies' man or was in other ways chauvinistic or misogynistic. and obviously homophobic. So there you go. That is something that is an interesting topic to bring about in a game that, you know, given the setting, seems an odd thing to tackle, because, like, why address a social issue in a game where the setting is so fantastical it can basically substitute for themes? But that's not what Shirokoi does, and that's not what any good writer does. They don't just rely on the situation to be interesting. There's also a point to be made, and I like that. That's very good. On second thought, she'd probably be fine with it, but okay, so we know that she's not the problem. He's kind of a cute guy. I'm definitely not into him, though. He's just got a round and fluffy face. Okay. Why does my face feel so hot? What in the world has gotten into me? Aw, the poor guy. Cole gently knocked on the top of the table. Yo, you done hyperventilating there, buddy? I know the view down there is nice, but we got a job to do. Huh? Sid glanced up from his position underneath their table to see that Cole had spread his legs and was gyrating his hips teasingly in his face. His loincloth left little to the imagination. Sid felt his heart thump rapidly in his chest as his mind wandered into dangerous, unknown territory. What? I swear I'm not peeping! The bencher stood up so quickly that his head bashed into the underside of the table and knocked the entire thing over. Artemis stared at him with confused curiosity while Cole frantically grabbed for his tankard of mead before it spilled everywhere. Sid felt his blood pressure rising as the people around them stared at him. Sir Sid, you have been acting very strange. Are you feeling well? I'm happy to supply you with more healing spells. I'm fine! God, just think about stuff and things. Cole gulped down his tankard of ale and slammed his drink onto the lopsided table with a satisfied sigh. Come on, that's enough spluttering out of you, big guy. You can go through your identity crisis later. We got a fight to finish. Aw, poor Sid. To be continued. All right. Okay, and that is it for the 0.1.3 update of Temptations Ballad. So we've made some progress, but we've also got some other shit we gotta take care of in the form of finding the rubies. It's a nice fetch quest story so far, but I imagine they're gonna do more stuff later on. I really like the fact that they're doing a lot with the setting. You know, you've got themes of the effects of parenting are all through all of these characters. You know, with Sid's relationship with his mother, and also addressing whoever instilled some of those fears in him. That is an interesting thing with Artemis. It's obvious, you know, the harsh upbringing given her status, but, you know, what she's gone through in her training and upbringing by her excellency or whatever, her regency, whatever the fuck she was calling her. And then, of course, with Cole trying to live up to his father's expectations, which seem to be bred more so from what Cole thinks his dad thinks, more so than what his dad actually thinks, because they don't communicate well. It's a really interesting thing that you would go to the fantasy world and you would have themes that are so resonant that people in modern day contemporary settings can relate to them, experience them, and gain something from it. It's a mark of an actually good story. It has something to say, and I'm really happy for it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what comes next for Temptations Ballad. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I have been the trained unprofessional, and you're not. Bye, everyone!